leave us for these things. His tone shook me quite a bit. I'm shivering a little. I was going to lie and say I understand, but I'm having a lot of trouble speaking right now. I want to go home. Winter, you may not have realized the severity of this situation. This isn't going to be community service like your first assignment. I know that. Hey, eyes straight, Harrison. Allow me to be frank. Brace yourself, because there may be a lot of dying happening soon. Dying? But... I'm shocked, honestly. I figured those rumors I heard from Clark were only that. Hold it. Death? I just thought... As far as we know, this world hadn't even developed nuclear weapons yet. What did I think? He said weapon. Am I daft? Though, with their strides in utilizing nuclear fusion for electricity, I suppose it was only a matter of time. People are going to die? It's people dying. Just slow it down for a second. I suppose that's what comes with our job. Not everything can be in the dossiers, right? We smooth out the creases and bring chaos to order. Slow it down, calm down. Though, sudden wars really are rare. War? My mind starts to tremble and my heart tries to explode from my chest. I definitely can't handle this. War isn't something I'm supposed to take care of. Shut up, don't excite the locals. I cover my mouth and raise my shoulders. Of course they're looking for a war. You can't believe. People dying is just a commonality. Do you even think properly? I'm afraid it... I'm fighting incredibly hard to do anything properly right now. Shaking, I turn to see the people at the counter. They thankfully are still engrossed in the president's speech. I look back at Cyrus and speak softly through my fingers. Shouldn't I go home? Yeah. Oh? This was supposed to be something like diplomacy. It goes to show you how important it is to get a look at the situation yourself. Anyway, if I heard was right, we don't have the time to get you out of here without causing a scene. As you should know, interplanal shifts take longer to repair than just moving from place to place. But I'll protect you no matter what happens, Winter. And you know how to escape if you really must. Yes. I don't know if I want to do that anymore, though. Is he? If he is talking about maybe dying. Of course, we don't have a lot of time in general. His demands I couldn't care less about, but his deadline... 4 hours. Consider this a powerful lesson and come with me. We proceed to exit the bar without saying goodbye. It seems it is time to get to work. It is too bad that I'm terrified. We take to the streets at a quick pace, Cyrus leading to wherever. I find it difficult to keep up with him, though. And in more ways than one, my head is still swimming from the mention of war. What level is the war, do you think? You mean what level do I think it'll be? It hasn't happened. With any luck, it won't. Look, I'm thinking this could be something like a 4 on the scale. 4? Oh gracious, 4 is 1 away from 5 and 2 from 6, which is terrible. 6 is very, very terrible. The worst. Even 4, though, a war without rules. Ugh, this must be particularly gross. It is a very disturbing prospect, so disturbing that I grab my hair and almost shut my eyes. What exactly is this? What will happen? Test, what do you think? Is it really the time for tests? Be appreciative that I'm even doing this work with her. You seem so much more angry than before. How irksome. What do I think? What it could be? Well, first of all, Gabriel will respond to Brighton's threat. Possibly. Possibly. Why wouldn't they? I'll answer that for you. Because it might work in their favor to ignore it. I don't get it. Just think, Winter. Oh, okay, just think. Wonderful advice, you... Well, maybe they just don't care at all about Brighton, and they'll use this tantrum as an excuse to destroy them. That's nonsensical, I know. Keep pointing out how I'm like a fish attempting to walk. That's right, Winter. You're right about why they wouldn't respond. What? How absurd! Isn't Gabriel a leech on Brighton's back? They need Brighton, so why would they want to destroy it? Well, they wouldn't actually destroy Brighton. What they would do is invade and take away what little freedom and independence this country still clings to. Then, they would be able to take advantage of the citizens in ways unprecedented. What a disgusting thought, I can hardly even imagine it. Alright, now here's another question. Why does Brighton think it could take on Gaebria? Damn it, Cyrus. How should I know? Same way you knew the first answer. I was bullshitting. Language? Sorry, sir. Thinking about recent events might help. Goodness, is he trying to get me to think in a place of murderers? Those are boots I would not like to fill. I guess that I have to, though. You mentioned recent events. I can't think that the minimum wage increase would embolden this country enough to believe they could stand against an obviously superior nation, especially with how unimpressed the president seemed to be about it. Even David wasn't terribly excited. Oh, David. What was it that David mentioned? The new army. The person I spoke with, his name was David. He said that Brighton had gotten a military recently to defend against the border country of Ferdia. He said it was because Ferdia is dangerous and ignores treaties, but isn't it far more likely that this army was actually created to engage with Gaebria? It's an actual military, and what seems to be a new kind of weapon, at least judging from how the locals reacted, and that would explain their confidence. I think. See, Winter, you are cut out for this. Wait, don't reference things I mumbled to myself before we came here, creep. Then you understand the situation. Yes, but I'm curious. Isn't this more like level 5 war? As Brighton and Gaebria are technically separate, I can't call what might happen as civil war. Then isn't it a technicality? Just a technicality? I figure Brighton and Gaebria were still very close. Well, look at you. You're all calm. I frown with indignation. I am not at all calm if this is essentially a level 5 war. Well, you look it. I do not let up with my frown. Well, it isn't all there is. How this might proceed largely has to do with what level I would give this potential war. Cyrus stops, and I stop and turn. We are now in front of the fountain. It took me the entire time till now to realize that the city streets are deserted. The doorways are even clear of those ragged children who would ask us for pennies. Could it be that everyone is listening to the address? Before I could drift off on this thought, Cyrus looks down on me. A nuclear weapon is one that can kill a lot of people and destroy a lot of things almost instantly. Excuse me? Honestly, Winter, what did you think I meant earlier when I said a lot of dying could be expected? I won't get into the details, but it's not something you would have been taught about yet. I've dealt with it before, though. You're lucky. I'm not lucky at all. Not even the littlest slightest. What kind of thing is it? Is it magic? This isn't a magical world, Winter. I think the higher-ups won't be going to those just yet. They're less fun than they sound. They should not be going to worlds with wars either. Point. You can check your codex for information about what we'll be dealing with if you'd like. I need to contact support and update them anyway, so at least it will give you something to do while you wait. What is it called exactly? Just a nuclear weapon? Seems rather broad, like spear weapon or a fruit drink. I believe that it's a fusion bomb. While Barton didn't specify, rumor I heard supports it. Also, it makes sense considering the reactors. Reactors? You forgot? We saw them when we first arrived. This country utilizes fusion reactors for power. Ah, right. The looming and shadowy giants that stand on distant steeps. I remember not wanting to remember them. They were disconcerting. Like many other things here, they looked a mess, and unlike many other things here, they vibrated. I thought they were going to violently break apart. Anyway, fusion bomb should be under weapons, obviously. It's technically not pure fusion, but most worlds can only do so much. Not pure? Well, it's a limited reaction jump started by fission. True fusion bombs are rather like man-made stars. Stars are beautiful. Not the word I'd use for those. Just keep the distinction in mind, and read that fusion bomb entry. Right, understood. I mumble as Cyrus turns from me and begins raising his wrist to his mouth. He suddenly pauses, though, and addresses me again. Oh, and Winter, while you're at it, check out the appropriate entries pertaining to this world. Always mind your codec. It could save lives. Remember to keep tabs on it. Understood, sir. I look at my own wrist. Both of us are sporting bracelets, which look very similar to stylish and thin digital watches. We have to regularly hide them from view, as we are advised that they are considered suspicious-looking things usually. Hey, it's Cyrus. You guys probably noticed there's trouble at this world. Yes, more trouble. Got the cutesy crowd. This isn't the time. I'm actually... Oh, he's actually what exactly? I look at him. He notices that I'm listening, shifts a little, and walks out of my range of hearing. That is worrisome. I look back at my wrist device, my ICD, Interplanar Communications Device, name which does not actually cover all that it does. It also carries a database and tells time and probably 1,000 other things, and it is fancy, or as it is fancy. Honestly, if there's anything magical I've encountered so far as a student mediator, it is most definitely the ICD. Scientific magic or some such. It basically does everything. It is how we get to other worlds and teleport around them, and it can open up a tiny pocket dimension for holding things in inventory, it's called. I think it is pretty cool. And it came from my own world. I would never have imagined. Right now I need to access the codec. I focus the slot, open the codec, and the device recognizes the command as it is linked with my mind, which is awesome. A tiny holographic screen emits from the device in a rather inconspicuous fraction, but still an acceptably readable size. I begin to navigate the database, searching for, well, let's see, Sewell, Brighton, Gabriel, and Ferdia too, I suppose. I think I'll leave Fusion Bomb for last. So we've already read Brighton, and Gabriel and Sewell, so we'll go on to Ferdia. Ferdia is a major society of S865941 Sewell. It is one of the 3 most significant societies on said world. Marked by its rich culture and extreme aggressiveness, it is responsible for many of Sewell's major works of art, literature, and music, while at the same time its army and navy are unrivaled by any other. It is a direct democracy, emphasizing fairness and the power of the individual. Ferdia's wars have been numerous and frequent, but within the last 2 centuries, developments in aeronautics made by other major societies, Gabriel and Rosary, as well as a fair number of truces, have largely put an end to this behavior. Unfortunately, they display an unusual amount of boldness. This has, in the past, caused them to ignore treaties and threats of technological superiority in order to go to war. Interestingly, despite their history of aggression, Ferdia has never tried to expand past the borders of its continent, nor has it created any colonies in foreign lands. Regardless of colonialism, many of the mediations of Sewell have concerned Ferdia's actions. Ferdia has always been extraordinarily territorial and protective of its people. This is due to the location on which they settled. One of the few fertile lands on Sewell, the land was and is quite desirable. Naturally, see S86599541, and Ferdia was frequently accosted by other tribes and nations attempting to claim this territory. Necessity led them to be a very strong people, and the familiar helpfulness of its society bore a friendly, nationalistic culture. They grew a rich appreciation for their history, which led to some of their later aggressive mannerisms. Ferdia had never forgot the slights made against their people, and after violently expanding its borders to scare off enemies, it spent much of its time warning the nations that had assaulted them in the past. To date, Ferdia is believed to have initiated 251 wars and has participated in 253, hence it has been stereotyped as a nation of violent roughhousing. While true to the point, they tend to be incredibly defensive and quick-tempered, reports indicate that the Ferdians are generally quite jovial and creative. They're also the least discriminatory nation on Sewell. An expression of theirs is that they hate everyone equally. But the truth is that they're surprisingly open to immigration and cultural diversity. It seems that they only ever take issue with countries themselves rather than the country's people. Mediators, be advised, as welcoming and charismatic as they are, do not fall prey to their influence. Remember that war is severely chaotic. Furthermore, while the military action has calmed down recently, tensions are always high when it comes to Faradian relations with other societies. Currently, Faraday has been focusing on artistic endeavors and has adopted a somewhat isolationist doctrine. His military is constantly honed, but has not been deployed in approximately 50 slow years. Now let's see if there's any updates from one of these. Out of curiosity, no, it doesn't appear to be. Okay. Fusion Bomb. This entry contains fusion weapons which are initiated by fission or pure fission weapons. See the entry on True Fission, which we don't have yet. I'm sure we'll get later, obviously. Fusion bombs, also known as nukes, are highly destructive weapons fueled primarily by nuclear fusion. Their power ranges anywhere from obliterating cities to entire countries, all in a few moments. Due to this, their possession is quite often efficient in quickly silencing opposition. Stability is often reached, however, when opposing or multiple societies possess the weapon. Mutually assured destruction tends to prevent societies from risking angering one another. Fusion bombs are also notable for their fallout, which often takes several decades to dissipate. To expound, fallout is the result of a nuclear weapons detonation, fission, or fusion on any area, since the resulting explosion is incredibly radioactive. Its effects will linger long after the initiation shock has passed, as the radiation will stick to the surrounding life and environment. Radiation sickness symptoms, fevers, disorientation, fatigue, headaches, hair loss, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, internal bleeding, increased risk of cancer, and mutations in survivors' children are all results of nuclear weapons fallout. Although most systems refer to these weapons as products of fusion, it is not entirely true. While fusion is certainly a part of the process, the reaction must first be started using fission, an atomic nucleus often that is uranium splitting. The reason it is usually begun with fission is due to the incredible energy and pressure required for nuclear fusion. For most societies, fission is the only method available for producing the required energy. It is a proper level of if a proper level of energy is reached, the nuclear fuel, often hydrogen, will begin to fuse with itself to produce a new element, often helium. This reaction is significantly more destructive than that of fission, to the point that fission bombs are usually quickly declared obsolete once fusion is explored. The fission stage of these weapons is the primary contributor to the radioactive byproducts left by the detonation. And I'm actually going to go and just end this here. So, save. Let's overwrite that save. And done for now. We'll obviously be back later.